Hello, I'm Ambassador Philip Reeker, and I lead the Bureau of European and Eurasian Affairs at the United States Department of State. I want to thank the Center for American Studies in Italy for the invitation to offer some brief thoughts about the significance of the pandemic on international relations. We live in an age of a pandemic, and it has changed and affected us all greatly, in Italy, in the United States, everywhere. Despite some of the headlines, as Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says, during these difficult times, the United States is working in solidarity with our partners and allies to provide humanitarian assistance to countries in need. Italy, one of our closest allies and friends, has been at the forefront of the fight against COVID-19. I want to commend Italy's transparency and sustained heroic efforts to contain the virus and help those affected. The example of American assistance to Italy is, I think, a good counterpoint to the many articles concerned with the direction of international relations caused by this pandemic. The United States has received assistance from other countries too. Ties between America and Europe are arguably stronger than between any other two regions in the world. That's why they are the subject of so much analysis. The term transatlantic, for me, echoes with confidence and pride. Our cultural, academic, and political ties are deep and abiding. While we can debate and disagree, let's remember, the transatlantic community shares $1.3 trillion in economic activity, accounting for over half of the world's GDP. As the coronavirus took over our lives, leaders turned to the multilateral institutions that have served us so well for the past 75 years. For example, meetings of NATO's foreign ministers and the G7 resulted in specific plans of cooperation on COVID. In 2019, we'd marked the 70th anniversary of NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, of which Italy and the United States are founding members. NATO is the backbone of transatlantic relations and a critical part of the international relations we foster. Now numbering 30 allies, so many of whom are members or partners of the European Union as well, together we have created and sustained a transatlantic space that has enjoyed the longest period of relative peace and prosperity in modern times. NATO was directed to coordinate the necessary military support to speed up and step up assistance in responding to COVID-19. This includes identifying the airlift capacity to ensure that medical supplies are delivered, better coordinating on surplus and supply chains, matching requests for support with offers from allies and partners. The NATO-supported strategic airlift moved more than 300 tons of vital supplies needed during the pandemic over the last 2 months alone. Security challenges have not diminished because of COVID, yet this health crisis has not become a security crisis. NATO's forces remain vigilant and prepared to respond to any threat. NATO is also working to improve resilience across the alliance and better plan for pandemics in the future. As the past months have demonstrated, the focus in recent years on defense spending and capacity building have benefits in addressing not only security threats, but crises of all kinds. It's vitally important that the alliance maintain its investment in defense and deterrence in the face of the challenges presented by the COVID-19 outbreak. I'm also certain the United States will continue to help its allies and partners in the future. Indeed, we have increased our foreign assistance for health and migrant programs by over $1 billion to 120 countries to fight coronavirus. The private sector in the United States has also been doing its part. American businesses, NGOs, and charitable organizations have provided billions and billions of dollars in donations and assistance to support vaccine research. Substantial U.S. funding and scientific efforts on this front remain a central part of the worldwide effort against COVID-19. And actually demonstrate how our robust international relations, the combined strength of the democratic community of nations, allow us to fight COVID-19 on a scale unknown during past pandemics. We see our alliance and cooperation are more important than ever. We will emerge from this crisis stronger together, united in our commitment to our common values of democracy, respect for human dignity, and individual freedom. Our transatlantic efforts and determined leadership will be able to build on the solid foundation of 75 years to overcome this crisis, to help our economies recover, and to preserve the best that democracies have to offer. Thank you. I wish you well. Buona fortuna a voi.